Hi guys, we have so much to catch up on since I have been away from YouTube for a while, more than 2 years, and I just got back earlier this week. Today we are talking about my current makeup favorites. And then in my next video, it will be a part 2 about skincare and hair care. So this one I have been using for more than 2 years before I took a break from YouTube, and it is the Too Faced Hangover. I do have oily skin, but I still like this because my skin is dehydrated. So I want to make sure that I have the moisture before I apply foundation, before I apply concealer. I could really see the difference in my skin if I don't use a hydrating primer. About 3 years ago, I was using a really matte primer. It was the Becca Evermatte, and that just got too dry. So I switched to this. I haven't looked back. I've gone through about 4, 5, 6 tubes of this. It has coconut water, probiotic based ingredients, and skin revivers. It is silicone free. Next is concealer, and it may seem excessive, but I love concealer. I have 4 to talk about. Like, they are all my current favorites. I just got to give them a shout out real quick. So the first one is the Benefit Boi-ing Brightening Concealer. I am wearing this under my eyes today. It is the perfect amount of peach for under the eye to really camouflage any dark circles. I also don't find this to be too emollient under the eyes. Like, I have oily skin, but it doesn't get slippery throughout the day. I just make sure to set it. I tap it on with my ring finger, and then on top of this, I will also use a liquid concealer. And then my go-to concealer just in general, like if I had only choose one, it would be the NARS Radiant Creamy Concealer. I use it in 3 shades. Like, that is how much I love this thing. If you can see that, it has a pretty standard doe foot applicator. I use it in Canelle, which is a little bit more peachy, and sometimes if I don't want to use that Boi-ing Brightening Concealer, I'll go in with Canelle instead. I have Vanilla, which is pretty brightening, so I just like to put it right in the inner corner of my under eye and blend it out, and that's enough to really bring it forward. And then the third one that I use is Creme Brûlée, and that is my skin tone. Like, if I just want to spot conceal or maybe even go under my eyes because I don't feel like I need anything too peachy, then that is the all-in-one concealer that I will use. The drugstore concealer that I absolutely love more than any other is the Maybelline SuperStay Better Skin. I use it in the shade Ivory, and I do like to pair this with Canelle from NARS. That one has a peach undertone, and this one is just a little bit lighter than my skin, and together it gives me the perfect shade for under the eyes. It's not too thin, it's not too thick. The fourth concealer that is just as important, and I did say like the go-to drugstore one is Maybelline, but this one's also drugstore, but for different reason, I'd say that this is another go-to. It is the Neutrogena SkinClearing Blemish Concealer. I of course use this for my blemishes, and I love that it has salicylic acid, so I do think it helps with reducing my spot. There are 2 loose powders that I've been loving, and the first one is the Maybelline Fit Me Loose Finishing Powder. I only got this in the last month, but it has become a staple for me. I got this because my other favorite, the Mercier Translucent Loose Setting Powder, was my go-to, but I did run out of it, and I just didn't really feel like spending that money at the time. And I happened to be at CVS one day, and I saw it, and I was like, I'm gonna try that. And I ended up loving it. And I pretty much lay it on thick, just like I would with the Mercier, almost like baking, but I don't keep it on for a very long time. I will just pound it on my face and then just wipe it away or brush it away with a stippling brush. It doesn't make my skin look dry. It doesn't make my skin oilier. It really is a good alternative if you're looking for something other than the Mercier, because the Mercier I know is very popular, but it is also very expensive. And I use this one in the shade 05 Fair. So this one is my brand new Mercier powder. I just picked it up. I ran out of mine like maybe 2-3 months ago, and I've been getting by without it, but I just had to get it again. It really mattifies my skin. It doesn't make my skin look dry, especially my under eye area. I'm 31 now, and it's slowly but surely getting a little crepey under there. I wouldn't say all the time. As long as I moisturize under my eyes, I'm okay. But if I don't moisturize enough, it gets a little bit crepey. And this doesn't make it any worse. It makes your skin look really smooth, and although it does say translucent, I think it just gives you that layer of evenness. And the more I'm seeing this trend as I'm looking at my stuff, like drugstore high-end, drugstore high-end, I think I'm gonna do a drugstore versus high-end video at some point. Speaking of which, here is another. I have two bronzers that I love, one drugstore, one higher end, and the drugstore one is the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. Both of my bronzers are very popular, and I think it's for a good reason. This is my second butter bronzer. It is in just the shade bronzer because I'm pretty sure they have a light bronzer and I think a deep bronzer. This is just straight up bronzer. And I love this one for this time of year. It smells like, I don't even want to say pina colada. It just smells tropical and fruity. It smells so good. I love the smell so much. And really because of the smell, I think I'm going to gravitate toward this more than my next one, even though my next one is my absolute favorite. It is the Too Faced Sweethearts Bronzer in Sweet Tea. This is one of my favorite makeup products ever. You know when you get in your car and you look in the mirror, that's like the thing that tells you the truth about your makeup. Like, you think your makeup looks good in your room or in your bathroom, but wait till you go into your car and look down at that mirror. It will tell you if your makeup looks good or not. And anytime I think, oh, my skin looks nice, I'm using this bronzer. A few years ago, I said that blush was my favorite kind of makeup, and now it has changed. I would say bronzer is my favorite kind of makeup, or it's the makeup that I couldn't leave the house without, and now I could leave the house without blush. But with that said, I do have one blush that I like, and of course it's very neutral since I don't wear that much blush now. It's so weird how your tastes just change over time, but this one is the Physicians Formula Butter Blush in Plum Rose. This one smells good just like the bronzer, and it's such a neutral shade. Like, in the pan, you're like, what the heck is that? Is that just like a normal face powder? But on my skin, it's the perfect amount of tint. And I'm just wearing it like right in here. It gives me a little bit more definition in the cheek area, and that's all I need. I don't want it to actually look like I'm wearing blush. Another product that I could leave the house without is a highlight. I just think that highlight can be too much for me because I do have oily skin. But when I do want to highlight, this is my go-to. It is the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Pearl. It is just a pure white highlight, and it makes your cheekbones pop without looking like you are wearing too much highlight. Although, of course, with any highlight, you can like really build it up. But if you just take a small brush and just diffuse it, it looks really nice. Like, I'm wearing it today, and I didn't want it to look like I'm really wearing a highlight. I wanted my skin to just look healthy. I don't want anyone to say, girl, your highlight is poppin'. Although that doesn't sound like me, but you know, like, I don't want someone to say that to me. I want someone to say, your skin looks healthy. This is what it looks like on my hand. I did really layer it up just so you can get the effect of that. But if you want to see what it actually looks like on the skin, that's it right there. Although I like getting a big eyeshadow palette every now and then, like I just got that one from Morphe in my haul, I love something as simple as the Naked Basics palette. And something like this I will take with me when I'm traveling, when I'm getting ready for work. This is such a staple in my routine. And one that's similar to this that I just got that was in my last video too was that Lorac Pro Matte. And I was gonna feature that in this video, but strangely enough, as I was getting ready to film this, I was applying that eyeshadow and it was not working for me. And I think what happened is, and I'll show it to you. So in that last video, I said that I tend to hit pan on my blacks first with Lorac. It happened again, like right after I filmed that video. I almost like don't want to touch this because it's all over the place, but look how much pan I hit on that black. And it is because that is such a powdery black. And as soon as I hit pan on it, it's like the shadow got worse. Like so much has kicked up every time I stick a brush in it. That's why the pan is like really visible at this point. And when I was putting it on my eyes today, it was like brushing off of my skin, and I touched it and it like wiped away. It wasn't sticking to my skin, and I think it's just getting worse and worse as I go. So I didn't feel comfortable talking about it in a current favorites, but the Naked Basics palette I've been using for a very long time. I actually went to Japan 2 years ago and I gave my Naked Basics to my grandmother because she loved the way it looked, and I said, oh my gosh, go ahead and take this and I'll just like buy a new one, and I did because it's so good. Not the best swatches ever, but just so you can get a feel for the shadows on my skin, those are the shades right there. My favorite mascara right now is from Maybelline. Maybelline makes great mascaras. It is the Colossal Big Shot Volume Express Waterproof version in Berry Black. I have very short, stubborn lashes, and I use the Shu Uemura eyelash curler, and when I put this on, they actually stay up and curl. It's a pretty thick brush, but it doesn't make my lashes look clumpy at all. And before this one, my favorite one was the CoverGirl Supersizer. And I don't know what happened with this, like if the formula slightly changed, but when they changed the CoverGirl logo, I repurchased it and it doesn't hold the curl of my lashes anymore. I don't know if it's just me or if it's just this tube. But because of that, I wanted to look for something else. I found this and I haven't looked back. My favorite lash, hands down, is the one that I'm currently wearing, and it is the Ardell Soft Touch 162. If I could only wear one lash for the rest of my life, it would be this one. Just recently I ran out of this, and I tend to be good about making sure that I stock up on my products and seeing when I'm running low. But for some reason I ran out, so I went to my nearby CVS, and sometimes they carry the 162, but that time they didn't carry it, so I got something else and I regretted it. It was the Ardell Foam Ink Lashes, and I got the Demi Wispies. I like the traditional Demi Wispies, so I thought the foam ink ones would be fine. I don't like the band on that one, so I had my friends over, and the whole time I was just worried about my lashes falling off. Like, they were so stiff that I had to like really hold them in place for a while with the glue for them to stick. It was really bad. And then they just didn't look good. So I was really bummed out about that, and I still have like 2 or 3 more pairs of those. But I did get this at Ulta. I love them. They're so easy. I just have to clip off the ends because my eyes are pretty small. And after that, I barely just like plop it on my eye and it fits perfectly. And these are my lash for any occasion, like for an event or even for work. Like even for work, I really need a lash. Like I don't literally need a lash, but I like having a lash. And I think this is natural enough where it's not just like super obvious. I mean, you can tell that I'm wearing lashes, but it's not like bam in your face. So I just really like these. They're so simple. They're the easiest that I've ever had to put on. I prefer it over the Ardell Demi Wispies even because these have the tapered ends and they just look a lot more whimsical and natural. And oh my gosh, as I say that, I think the inner part of my lash was like coming off this whole time. Like how long was that happening? Oh, basically I went through a full day of work today, came home, took off my makeup and reapplied it. Well, that's annoying. Right after I talked about how awesome these lashes are, the inner part of it was like popping out. We have 2 lip products and then we're done. This is the Lancome Les Absoluts lip glosses. I have it in 2 shades. My favorite one is the one on the bottom, which is more of a sheer gloss, and it just makes my lips look really plump and hydrated. So if you ever just want to look like you have glossy lips, but very natural, it's nice to put on something like this. Standard doe foot applicator. And really applying this on my hand doesn't do anything because it's so clear. So I don't really know why I'm showing you, but you can see how shiny that is. So that one is $212. I don't know the actual name of it, but that's $212. And this one is $272. It is a rose with gold sparkle as well. And you also can't really tell that it has shimmer when you have it on your lips. It just reflects the light so well and it makes the gloss look extra glossy. And the last product, I'm not going to talk too much about it. It was in my last video. These are the L'Oreal Color Re-Shine lipsticks. One is called Glossy Fawn and the other one is Burnish Blush. I'm wearing Burnish Blush right now. In my last video, I was wearing Glossy Fawn, which is more of a nude. Although I watched that video back where I was editing it and I was like, girl, you don't look like you're wearing anything on your lips, but it's fine. So this one right here is Glossy Fawn. It has such a beautiful shine to it. You can see that right there. They're so comfortable on the lips. I can't get past how comfortable they are. And they have a slight sweet scent, so much better than some other L'Oreal lip products out there. Like, of course, the traditional lipsticks. They just smell so bad to me. I can't wear them. As much as I like some of the colors, I can't wear them, but this is nice. So that's it, guys, for my current favorites. My next video will be about my skincare and hair care. If you've tried any of these products or you use them regularly, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. And I will see you guys on Sunday for part 2 with skincare and hair care. Bye, guys.